Now, the draft isn't the only thing on the NFL's off-season agenda. Free agency does come before the NFL draft, and part of free agency, NFL teams spend a lot of money. And they're going to have a lot of money to spend this year because the NFL salary cap has gone up for next season to $255.4 million. That is a huge jump for NFL teams, and that also means the Jaguars will have a few extra dollars to throw around than maybe folks expected. As of right now, the Jaguars have $24.67 million of free salary cap space to spend and do with as they please this offseason. Now, Trent Baalke and the Jaguars front office is going to be hard at work to maybe clear up a little bit more salary cap space than just that. But $24 million is nothing to frown at. There's plenty of money for them to spend and get a lot of help on their team and keep their own guys. One of the guys that they'll surely be trying to keep has to be Josh Allen. Number 41 set the single-season franchise record in sacks last year, and now his contract with the team is up. The question is, will they hit him with the franchise tag or not? We caught up with 1010XL's Frank Frangie this week. Frank says he knows Josh Allen's going to be here in Jacksonville, so he's not worried about if he's tagged or if it's a contract, because 41 is going to be a Jaguar.
I'm not overly concerned about what happens with Josh Allen because I do know he's going to be on the team. You would hope they can avoid the tag and maybe keep the tag for Ridley if you need it, but I'm not worried about the Josh Allen thing. Josh wants to be here. Everyone knows that. The team wants him here. I think everybody knows that. You hope you avoid the tag, but it's good that you have it if you need it. The bottom line is number 41 is going to be rushing the passer, and I'm excited about that.
I normally agree with Frank on a lot of things. I don't really agree with Frank on this one. Look, I know keeping Josh in Jacksonville is a big thing. I've said it 100 times. And keeping him on the franchise tag is okay. But just keeping him on the franchise tag doesn't exactly make you feel all warm and bubbly inside. Now, keep in mind that franchise tag is going to be in the ballpark of $20 to $22 million. So that eats up a whole lot of space of that free money that the Jaguars just said they had. So that wouldn't leave them with a whole lot to work with to improve the rest of the roster. Also, the Jaguars have a reputation. If you've watched the Jags, you kind of know it by this point. A lot of the young players that come and do in Jacksonville go on to make those big contracts and do even better somewhere else. The Jaguars don't keep their own young talent. They don't keep their players that are doing well. And at some point, if you want to take that next step as a team, that next step as a franchise, you got to start keeping your own guys. And why not start with Josh Allen? You picked him. You invested in him. He wants to be in Jacksonville. Edges like him don't just grow on trees. They just don't. If they did, NFL teams would be growing those trees at every team facility in the league. But they don't. So you got a guy that you know if, for whatever reason, the Jaguars let him hit the open market, teams would line up to throw a $100 million deal at this guy. Without a question, because he is good on the field and he is good off of the field. You don't have question marks about this guy, and he wants to be here in Jacksonville. The Jaguars need to give this guy a long-term contract and be done with it. Not because they need to do it for the team, but because they should do it. It's what they should do. It's what they should have done a year ago. Rather than asking him to play on that fifth-year option, which a lot of the top edges in the league don't do. Look, it just doesn't happen. Nick Bosa doesn't play on his fifth-year option. I understand Josh hasn't necessarily had some of that production, but Josh has earned a contract here in Jacksonville. One that if the Jaguars would have done a year ago, probably wouldn't cost them as much now. But you know what? You waited, you found out, and now you got to pay the piper, and it's time for them to go ahead, pay up, get it done with, keep the guy here in Jacksonville long-term, and you feel good all of a sudden that you got your bookends under contract for years to come. Trayvon Walker on one end, and Josh Allen on the other. Jaguars got to get it done.